My name is Kelly, and you're watching Composure Under Fire.
Hey travelers, welcome back to a new video. Travelers, if you're interested in becoming a Consular Fellow, this video is for you. In this video, we have the honor and privilege of talking to Kellie Bland. She is a two-time Consular Fellow. She served in Mexico and Peru. In this video, travelers, we hear all about her experiences, and she gives you tips if you also want to become a Consular Fellow. But before we begin today's video, make sure you smash the like button, smash the subscribe button for more content like this. And travelers, be sure to check out my free e-course where I go through all things travel and careers in international affairs. The link is in the bio. All right, travelers, let's get into today's video. How did you become interested in becoming a Consular Fellow?
Before I was a Consular Fellow, I did the Peace Corps, and I was in Nicaragua for 2 years, and I taught English. And the Consular Fellows program, I think they recruit a lot of former Peace Corps volunteers. After Peace Corps, I was in grad school and kind of like looking for what I was going to do next. And I went to a information session that was led by the Peace Corps, and then that's how I figured that I would be interested in it because it's a language-based program. So that's why they recruit a lot of Peace Corps volunteers who've already gone abroad before.
What kind of languages do they look for?
I know I did Spanish, and they have Chinese, Arabic. There might be one other one I'm missing, but I think the main ones are Chinese, Arabic, and Spanish.
What is a Consular Fellow?
So it's basically you're acting as a consular officer, and it's a 5-year contract, so it's a limited career appointment. So you can't go join the Foreign Service afterwards. It's just a 5-year appointment that it can be extended to a max of 6 years, and you get to do 2 tours. So you do 2 years in one tour, and then you can do up to 3 years in your second tour. And so you're doing consular work, doing visa interviews, passport adjudications and stuff like that. But it's just a limited time period.
How long were you a Consular Fellow, and where did you serve?
I was a Consular Fellow for 5 years. And I did my first tour in Monterrey, Mexico, and then I did my second tour in Lima, Peru.
Did you get to choose where you wanted to go, or how does that process work?
You don't get to choose necessarily. You can rank your choices based on the list that they give you when you're in your orientation. So you can rank those, but they ultimately decide where you go.
How does someone become a Consular Fellow?
I think, well, first of all, you have to have the language, at least like you have to take a language test and get a certain level. So you have to have that. You can't do it without having some type of language base. And then from there, like I said, you take a language test, and then you take an exam that's similar to the Foreign Service exam, but it's not exactly the same. And then once you pass that, then you can become a Consular Fellow. If you get on the register list and everything, and then you wait and see if you are going to be able to go to the Consular Fellow class.
What did you do to study for the test?
I think I looked at resources online and looked at like Reddit and other like forums to see like what people were studying and how they studied. And I, honestly, for the language, I just took the language exam because I was like, I'm going to have it or I'm not going to have it. So I just kind of was like, I hope I have enough language to do this. But then for the actual exam, I looked at other people's, if they had questions online that I could use to study.
Take us through the training. What is the training like?
The training, so first you do your 2-week orientation in Washington, D.C., and then you just kind of go through what the job's going to be like, what's it like working for the State Department. And it's kind of like a condensed 2-week orientation. And then at the end of those 2 weeks, that's when you find out where you're going. And then after that, you could do, I had to do a kind of, a language top off. So I did it was almost 4 or 5 months of language. And then in order to do the consular job, you have to take a course for that. And I think that was a couple months. And then after that, you're basically ready to go, pending other, administrative things you have to do.
Was it difficult?
It wasn't difficult, but it was more I guess I think about that time and it wasn't like hard, but it was just like stressful because you're just in this little bubble and you're like, you have to pass the language test, you have to pass your other courses, and it's just also new. So you're just nervous about how it's all going to turn out. So it's not like necessarily difficult, but it is stressful just trying to make sure you're doing everything to get ready to go abroad.
Do you need a specific education degree in order to become a Consular Fellow?
No, I think there are people from all different educational backgrounds and even levels, like I started when I was like 35 or 34. So you can be like older when you start, or it's people were, in their early 20s, and people were older than me in their 40s. It just depends. So just if you have, like I said, the language base as like your main thing that you need to know. But in terms of like an education, no, it was all over the map.
Is there a specific major? So there's no specific major or
no, there was like, lawyers, there were, people who were teachers, and I was communication. So it was very varied for sure.
What is the average day like of a Consular Fellow?
So the average day, at least in my experience, so I worked at two really kind of, my first tour was, they call it like a visa mill. So it's just a lot of like doing visa interviews. So, and during that tour, it was a lot of, we did interviews in the morning and then we did some interviews in the afternoon. So that's really your focus. Like your job is to like do the visa interviews. I mean, that's really it for that tour. It was basically just doing the visa interviews. And then you can have different portfolios and things that you can do outside of visas. And so I was interested, before this job, I worked in a high school foreign exchange organization, public affairs office, to do like some other projects that when I had the time and after work. So depending on your interests, maybe if you're interested in policy or economics, you can try and do other projects outside of your visa work. But, first things first is the visa work. And then after that, you're able to like branch out and kind of, see what you're interested in. Because I think the one really good thing about the Consular Fellows program is like getting your foot wet in the foreign service world to see if you're interested in it or not. So I definitely think that if you're not sure if you want to join the foreign service, you can do this Consular Fellows tour and just see if you like the lifestyle. And then from there, you can actually, take the exam and all of that. So it's a good way to just get your foot in the door and see if you like the lifestyle and the work.
Did anything surprise you, or is there something that you wish you would have known before you started?
I mean, nothing really surprised me because I didn't really know what I was getting into, honestly. So nothing really, I think that was a good thing, I guess. I was just learning and figuring out, how the lifestyle is to be, abroad and working at an embassy or consulate. So, I mean, I guess in a way, the thing that surprised me was specifically with consular, it's very like, I think that I didn't really get to explore as much as I would have in another position, because we were doing the work like every single day, like kind of just a 8 to 5 type of thing, where maybe some other areas of the embassy I could have like moved around more or met more people. So I think that was a little bit, I didn't know that. Not that it was a bad thing, but just that's something that maybe surprised me. But overall, I didn't really have any expectations. So it was just kind of learning and figuring out how everything worked.
What is it like to be a woman of color in the service, or a woman of color as a Consular Fellow?
I think it's definitely, you're definitely a minority in the foreign service and as a Consular Fellow. Yeah, I didn't really see that many, in my 2 tours, not that many people of color. A few, but so it's definitely just can be difficult at times if you're trying to connect with other people of color and just trying to find your voice and trying to make sure that your needs are being met and also that you're being taken seriously as much as everyone else. I mean, I think the foreign service in general is like very, especially higher up people, is, a lot of like white men. So just being a woman and this being a woman of color, it can be difficult at times. And just with all the cultural aspects that go along with being abroad and being a woman of color. So you just have to be mindful of that and have like support systems around you at home and friends that you make on the job to help you through that.
What did you do outside of your time in the embassy, outside of work hours?
I went to a lot of restaurants and ate a lot of really good food because there's a really good food in both of my posts. In Mexico, there's amazing food. And then in Lima, it's like a foodie city. And so that was awesome. I just tried a lot of different food. I traveled as much as I could, on long weekends or trips with my friends to go and see the country. Because that's like the best part, being able to actually go on trips and see be the country that you're serving in.
What is the most challenging part about being a Consular Fellow?
I think that sometimes, like I was talking about, the work can get a little bit overwhelming at times if you have to, when you're doing the interviews, I think it can get a little monotonous. So just making sure you have like things to vary your life, like at work or outside of work, because sometimes it does get a little bit the same thing every day doing interviews, and that can be difficult. And then of course, just in general, being abroad, you're away from your family, you're away from your friends. I found it difficult that I connected with so many people that it was hard because the foreign service is so transient that like I found it hard to make these connections with my really close friends, and then they have to leave or I have to leave. And so for me, that was hard just because when I make connections with people, it's like, oh, like you're so my family, you're so close to me. But then it's like balancing that, transient lifestyle. So I found that to be difficult, but I made a lot of good friends though. So
you always have a place to stay.
Yeah, very true. Yes. I've met a lot of people that all over the world. So that's a good thing.
What is your travel schedule like? And did you have any travel perks?
Travel schedule? Like, you mean in what sense? Sorry, I don't.
Like, did you travel? Well, so we talked about you traveled like on the weekends, but were there like any travel perks or anything?
Not really. I mean, I guess the only travel perk that you have is, I guess when you're traveling within the country that you're serving, I guess you can sometimes, because you're, I guess, technically a resident, you can maybe get some perks as like someone who's a local versus a tourist. So that's good. Travel perks? I don't think so. I don't really, not that I know of. Maybe I missed it.
What was your favorite part of the job?
I think connecting with the local staff that I worked with at the embassy and consulate was really great. I made a lot of friends and connections, and that helped a lot, I think, with the job and just getting to know the country, because you could ask your friends and colleagues about different things that were going on. And then I think, I guess it's the same thing, meeting people that I worked with. And then, of course, just being abroad and traveling, and because the program is language based, I've always loved Spanish and speaking Spanish, and I have spoken it for many years. So that I love that too, being in Spanish speaking country.
What was the best piece of advice you were ever given?
Probably just to advocate for yourself, like whenever, especially when you're in something new and you don't really know what's going on. But at the same time, you need to, when you feel like something's wrong or something's off, just definitely advocate for yourself. Or when you know that you can do a job or you have skills, definitely put that forth and advocate for yourself so that you can get new opportunities and new experiences.
What would you say to someone who wants to follow in your footsteps, who wants to become a Consular Fellow?
I would say try and connect with other people who've already done it so you can get some advice and see, if it's something that you're interested in. Maybe, I know they do a lot of sessions for Consular Fellows just to try and recruit people. So try and join those sessions. If you have language, but you're not sure if it's like at the level that you need to, just maybe practice or get a tutor or get someone to speak with so you can get it up to par for the language test. And I think just connecting with other people that have already done it, I think is really important.
Are there any other resources that you would like to mention?
I mean, I think just going on the State Department website, because they have all the information, and there's a lot of Facebook groups too. You can join, like there's like a Spanish Consular Fellows Facebook group, and just like type those different groups in and look for them so you can join them. And on there, a lot of people who haven't even gotten into the program yet ask questions on there. So you can do that before you even start.
Is there anything else that you would like to add before we end the interview?
No, I guess the thing that I would add is that I feel like there's two paths in terms of like when you're finished with Consular Fellows. I think a lot of people go on to be foreign service officers, but there's also other avenues to do other things. Like I'm still working for the State Department, but not doing foreign service. So I guess if anybody has like questions or wants to talk to me about that, I guess there's different options, and depending on your experience after doing Consular Fellows kind of judges how you move forward afterwards. So there's a lot of different opportunities that it opens up, I think, after doing it.
What are some of those options?
I think it's a lot easier. For example, since I was working for State Department through Consular Fellows, it was easier, my transition to become a civil servant and for the State Department, and you get your, your security clearance and all of that. So like it can roll over into another job, not even just State Department, but just in the government. So I think that if you want to continue working for government, it definitely opens up a lot of opportunities. And then if you don't, like it just on your resume, I think it's a really good thing to have on there. And if you want to join foreign service, all my friends who have taken the exam have done really well, and they've gone on to like start their careers in the foreign service.
So now we're going to do our rapid fire rounds. We're going to do composure under fire. I'm going to say a question, and then you just say the first question or the first answer that comes to mind.
Okay.
Favorite location you've ever traveled to?
I want to say Oaxaca, Mexico.
Favorite food?
Okay, I'm going to say it's a theme, but I love Mexican food, like tacos, burritos, all that.
What is your greatest attribute?
I think that I am really caring and I can connect with people. I think that's one of my greatest strengths, that I can definitely connect with people no matter the situation.
Are you reading anything currently?
I haven't started it yet, but I don't know if you've heard, Jay Shetty has a book. It's called like the 8 signs of love or something like that. I haven't started it, but I downloaded it on my Kindle.
Who is your greatest inspiration?
Probably my mom, just because I know that like where she started and where she got to, and it's definitely for like higher education. Like she has her master's and everything. And so that kind of inspired me to like get my education as well.
First job?
I worked in a movie theater.
Where did you go to school and what are your degrees?
I went to school, undergrad at Elon University in North Carolina. And then I did a master's, or I studied communications in Spanish. And then I went to UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County for a master's. And it was like a Peace Corps like funded master's program where you can do your master's and then you do like kind of a fellowship on the side. So I did like a job and then I did my master's. But anyway, so I studied intercultural communications, training, and Spanish for my master's.
What is something that you're most excited about right now?
Well, I'm settling into DC, so I'm excited to like reconnect with people, and because I lived here a while ago, so just excited to be back and get settled in and be back with family and friends, I guess.
Favorite sport?
I like football. I think that's I'm not gonna say that I'm not like a big sports person, but if I had to choose one, I think football would be my favorite.
Favorite movie?
This is really random, but Sister Act 2. I love that movie.
And if someone could play you in a movie, who would it be?
I'm just like, I don't know, Viola Davis. I don't know.
That'd be good. That'd be so cool. That'd be cool. All right, travelers. Well, that concludes today's video. Kellie, thank you so much for sharing your experiences of what it was like to be a Consular Fellow. Travelers, in the comment section below, be sure to let me know who you would like to hear from next. Be sure to also check out the free e-course. The link is in the description box below. And if this video has provided value to you, be sure to share it and smash that subscribe button for more content like this. All right, travelers, it's been a pleasure like always. Until next time, let's travel with our dreams together. See you later. Bye-bye.